Good evening, Year 9. This is the Year 9 options evening. If you're watching this live at 7 o'clock, you're very welcome. And if you're watching this on some kind of delay later, then it's also good to know that you're connected and you're watching. My name is Peter Hall. I'm one of the assistant head teachers here at Beacon. My job is to put together the curriculum and the timetable for next year. And we are already thinking about this. Your choices here make a major part of our planning for the next academic year. So sometimes this means we need to look for different teachers, or it changes the kind of what teachers get to do next year. So we're very pleased to start this and get you to be thinking about what you would like to do. I guess we can always say this: education has changed. Things look a bit differently. It's been a few years now since we started talking about 1 to 9 and stopped talking about A star to G. So hopefully that's a language that you're kind of used to. You might also have heard people talking about the EBAC, the English Baccalaureate. So this is a measure. This is something that looks at those students who are doing English and maths and science and geography or history and a foreign language. And if you have all of those, if you have those 5 things, then we count you, the government counts you as having this EBAC measure. Sadly, you don't actually get anything. You don't even get a certificate, but it is something to be aware of. It's a good broad mix of things to choose, but you might be aware that's something that we talk about. So alongside GCSE, there are equivalent kind of qualifications of a vocational kind of nature. So NCFE and the Welsh Board's WJEC also run qualifications that we offer. So it might help to look at those here and say, this is the scale on the left here, the GCSE scale of 1 up to 9. And broadly speaking, we talk about a 4 and upwards being a pass. Obviously, the higher numbers are the best, so the 9 is really stunning. There are grades that come below a 4, so a 3 or a 2 or a 1. They do exist and students do get them. And of course, a 3 is a lot better than a 2 and so on. But really, we're aiming at a 4 and kind of upwards. The vocational subjects are split into levels. So level 1 matches up to GCSE 1 to 3. Level 2 matches up to GCSE 4 to 9. And then later, when we're talking about sixth form, level 3 is what comes next and kind of matches up to A-level equivalent kind of scores. So within level 1, within both of these, there's a pass, merit, distinction, and distinction star. Within level 1, those kind of split across the 1 to 3 kind of equivalents. Within the level 2, you can see here the merit is kind of a 6, the distinction is kind of a 7, 8, the distinction star is a kind of 8, 9. So you can see roughly how those kind of line up. Anyway, let's get to thinking about some choices. Some of what happens continues as it does now. So we have a core kind of set of subjects. I guess so far we would say that everything you've done in year 7, 8, and 9 has been at our choice and our decision for you. So some of the things end like that we insist that you carry on with English, ultimately getting 2 GCSEs, 1 in English language and 1 in English literature. We carry on with maths, we carry on with science. Some of you with a combined science route where you end up with, although you're taking exams in chemistry, biology, and physics, that ends up being the equivalent of 2 GCSEs. Some of you will take separate science or triple science, where you'll take, again, biology, chemistry, and physics, but get a GCSE in each one. And on top of that, we carry on with PE and RE and personal development, much as you've been used to over the last few years. Okay, so what about choices? So here are all the things that we're pleased to be able to offer and the courses that we can run. And I've split them on the screen here into 2 kind of halves. So the things on the left here are the ones that you should kind of recognize as the sorts of things you've done some of already. And hopefully you know kind of what they're about a little bit. The things on the right here are newer, and maybe things that you haven't heard so much of. Some of you may have been able to look at some of these when we did Taster Days a couple of weeks ago during the Year 11 mocks. We should point out at the bottom here, so these 3 on the bottom here are vocational. We should point out at the bottom here, these 2, the health and social care and the child development. We've run health and social care for a very long time. We've run it in the sixth form. There's been quite a lot of changes in the last couple of years, and particularly the last kind of 6 months, in the way that the health and social care course is structured. And we are just considering whether child development might be a better course for you, for students, whether that is more interesting, whether that's more appropriate. So do have a look in the booklet that tells you a little bit more about that and health and social care. And we can talk about that in a moment. So here are your choices. How does the choosing kind of work? Well, can you choose anything? Kind of. We really want you to keep that kind of broad sense of things. So alongside the maths and the English and the science, then we insist that you choose either geography or history. We think you should give very serious thought to continuing with a language, so carrying on with French or German. And we would say, in general, we'd say try and keep a broad mix here. So we would say it'd be better if you don't choose two art choices, you don't choose psychology and psychology, and you don't choose product design and engineering, because we encourage you to keep a fairly broad set of choices going for the moment. One of the thoughts that you might be having at this time is kind of what next? Where does this go? And so in the booklet that we gave you last week, you'll be able to see our current snapshot of what we offer in the sixth form, particularly here telling you at the moment the courses that we offer. And of course, that might change by the time you get there. But also at the moment, what kind of grades are we looking for? So if you're very keen to do criminology in the sixth form, you're very keen to do French in the sixth form, psychology, any of those, you can look here and see what is it we want for the GCSE. So what pathway, what route are you choosing now, and where does that head? Where does that head you down? That might be helpful. What also is in the booklet you got last week, there's details for every course. This is a really useful thing to keep. Don't just throw it away once you've made your choices. Keep that around as being a good thing to have to tell you about the courses next year. You can, of course, download an electronic copy from the website if that's helpful. So, what makes good ways for you to choose? Well, we suggest you think about what you enjoy. We suggest you think about what you're good at. Maybe the CKA results that you had just about to come, or the results you've seen already will help you do that. Maybe you've managed to do some research and look into what that course is like. Maybe you thought about what will happen after you're 16. What do you do after year 11? Does this choice you're taking now help? Does it keep lots of doors open and give you lots of choices after that? Maybe it's as simple as you really love to study history. You definitely want to do that in the sixth form. So you need to choose it now to help that kind of follow on. Some of you will have career ideas and plans. Are these choices helpful in going in that direction? Some of you won't. That's absolutely fine. Again, that's why we say now think about choosing broad things to do. And what we'd also say above everything else is talk to us. Talk to your form teacher, talk to your subject teacher, talk to other teachers that you know that would be helpful for you. I guess a bit of warning about what not to choose. We would say be aware of something you think looks easy. These are all GCSEs. They're not easy. This is not a trivial thing to undertake. So don't choose something because it looks easy. Don't choose something because it's what your friends are choosing. You need to want to do this. Don't do this just because of your friends. Don't do this just because you are having a great set of lessons this year with your year 9 teacher. Really, at this stage, it's far too early to know who would be teaching you next year. So don't let that be the huge deciding factor. And don't do this because it's something that your mum did and really likes it, your older brother did and really likes it. Make sure these are choices that are suitable for you and are going to work well for you. Okay, so some key dates for you. So you had the options booklet last week, or you can see that online. Here's the options evening. So in January, we've got a parents' evening for A band in the first week and then B band in the second week. And also in the first week, we'll share with you how you fill in the online choices. How does that work? Where do you have to go? And how does that work? So about the kind of third week back is a deadline for you making those choices. It is possible to change your mind later, of course. It's kind of possible for quite a long time. I guess the more work that I've done in setting up the timetable, the harder that gets for you to change and swap around. So, don't do this quickly. Do think about it now. And we would also say that this is you telling us about your preferences. We will work really hard to accommodate everybody and all choices. That usually works really well. I suppose there are occasions where very few of you choose something. So if only 2 of you, 3 of you choose a course, we're likely to say, I'm sorry, we can't run that. But, given a good sense of numbers, that's entirely feasible that we will be able to run everything and we will be able to accommodate everybody. So if you don't hear from us, do assume that's good news, and we will come back to you if there are any problems. So hopefully that has told you all the things you need to know. Hopefully that and the booklet is useful. If you now go back to our website and you look at the Year 9 options page, you will now be able to see subject videos. So similar to this, but in lots of different subjects for you to look at. And of course, look at those as much as you like. Do please email me if you have any questions or anything else that you want to ask. Thank you.